you did say that Manchester United you thought were going to be winners of the Premier League this year. And I think now I'd like to ask you that question. Do you still believe that, Jim?
Do I still believe it?
Manchester United can be the Premier League winners this year.
When you look at it, they could be considered as outsiders in the title race, in spite of yesterday's absolute shambles. I wouldn't be wrong on that. Yeah, they could be considered outsiders in the title race. Certainly, you would think. Maybe not now, but you never know. They're still in the Europa League, they could win that. They're still in the FA Cup, they could win that. Oh yeah, and they've already won the Carabao Cup. So it's not a bad season.
He wasn't asking that. He was saying, did you actually say that? That you thought Manchester United could, you're outside of your mind.
I thought he was being mischievous though, wasn't he, with that?
Right, one result doesn't suddenly change the entire narrative, does it?
They're a mile off winning the Premier League, and as was shown on Sunday.
So who won it? You still going with City?
I think that Arsenal, I saw some ridiculous observations from Adrian Dara about Arsenal being lucky. You don't get lucky, you get to make your own luck and get your put yourself in the way of it. What I do worry for Arsenal is if they keep giving sides head starts in games, they're going to get caught by a team that's a bit more potent than Bournemouth and Aston Villa. But I'll tell you what, to keep coming back with that innate sense of belief is the stuff of champions.
Can't keep going, Jim, behind in games, but wow, I mean, it was 30 efforts at goal.
Oh, it was
magnificent. They're on this journey at the moment. I don't think they're a mystery journey. Whether it becomes the story of their life. If they win the Premier League, I think against Man City, it would be. So there's a lot to play for.
14 points behind Arsenal and Manchester City with a game in hand. Highly unlikely they'll win it, but you never know. I mean, who could have predicted? Neville was right on the telly yesterday. No one on this planet saw a 7-0 yesterday coming at Anfield. And I must admit, at 1-0 at half-time, I thought United was still very much in it.
And so did everybody. You have to give credit to Souness, because before the game he did say that he thought Liverpool would win this game.
100%.
He said it before the game and he was laughed by other people, right? And nobody saw the capitulation at 7-0, but the fact of the matter is that United capitulated and Liverpool took advantage of it. And the argument, I saw the raging argument between Graham and Neville and Gary Neville, and they both had salient points in it. They really did. You can't forecast a 7-0 defeat, but you also have to look at the reality of it's there in their locker. They've done it. Graham was right. You got beat 6 by Man City, you got beat 4 by Brentford. But I tell you what, there's something worse about getting beat 7-0 by the bigger teams like Liverpool when the rivalry's there. I mean, okay, Man City aside, there's something about getting beat 7. He used examples, Neville, like Ipswich and Southampton and games in the past where United have been caught cold in individual games or getting beat by Newcastle.
Yeah.
But they're different dynamics.
Well,
you get caught cold in those sort of games. But when you're playing against your biggest rivals, you just don't get caught like that.
No,
you don't.
No, it was a dramatic collapse. I mean, to be fair to Souness, Casemiro wasn't even a steady Eddie. I mean, it really was one of those days you think, am I watching this?
Well, if your wide players are not going to track back and not put in the hard miles, then you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I think what we must do here is where it becomes a little bit unbalanced as well. And this, I do feel this with Gary Neville, that it becomes about the Man United story. Let's look at what Liverpool have done, by the way, in all of this. The way they got embarrassed and dumped pretty well out of the Champions League by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And have come back from that, Jim. Because their season was pretty well over. And I think yesterday's performance was remarkable. And what they've done now, they were renowned for pressing really high up the pitch. And they've fallen right down the table for that. Now they're a counter-attacking team. And look at the pace and the quality. Gakpo's performance yesterday was absolutely
brilliant. He was brilliant. One time United
target. Suddenly it's another great signing.
Yeah. I mean, you quite rightly having a dig at me about Manchester United, but Martin, you know what it's like to have been embarrassed yourself at Anfield. 1994, Robbie Fowler scored a hat-trick against you in 4.5 minutes. I mean, you couldn't have been too proud of that day.
Jim, do you know what happens when you're in the moment and you get overwhelmed? You know, you hear Declan Rice talking this weekend, talking about playing against Brighton, saying, we're outnumbered, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes you have to step back in the game and just get your head up and have a look. It's about managing games. Manchester United too open. The best team I've seen this season for keeping it tight, being difficult to beat, is Newcastle. Jim, they scrap for everything, every minute, every game.
Yeah.
Manchester United too open.
That's the thing.
Of course it can happen
to you.
Of course it can.
So yesterday was a blip.
They could have got beat 11.
Or is it deeper than that?
I think that Ten Hag looks at it and says, right, there's 1 or 2 here that I'm going to have to take out. They've papered over the cracks. 22 games, I think they've won. They've only lost a couple.
Such as who?
Since Christmas.
Such as who?
1 or 2 players. I wouldn't want to name those names.
Well,
the manager.
You mentioned them through there,
The manager will know. That's really unfair, Jim.
Well, no, come on.
The manager will know. It's not what I think or believe.
Do you think Fernandes is in that conversation?
I think he's one that's a question mark over because of his histrionics. He's out throwing his arms around. He's
lack of leadership.
This falling over all the time and wanting people booked every 5 minutes. It's concentrate on your football. I mean, he's got 11 assists this season, 7 goals, I believe.
As a centre back, what did you think of Martinez?
Well, I think all of the question marks that we thought were there came to the fore in this game.
You're not having Luke Shaw either, are you?
Didn't have the best performances, Jim. No, but he's going to have to recover. I mean, his clearance, one of them was trying to clear one ball and it's just like, it just didn't look like he was at the races.
I mean, Chris Sutton in the Mail has gone for it on Bruno Fernandes. Shoved the referee's assistant, acted as if his nose had exploded when caught in the chest by Konate, dived to try and win a penalty from Alisson, refused to track back when beaten, waved his arms in the air when Ten Hag didn't substitute him. Fernandes take a bow for one of the worst performances we've ever seen from a Premier League player, certainly from a captain. He has not missed Chris Sutton this morning.
I don't think you can say it's one of the worst performances we've ever seen from a Premier League player, but what we can do is talk about the standards you'd expect from a Man United captain and a Man United player in the current vein of form that they're in. So he's absolutely right. And that list of outcomes and scenarios are all on the money, aren't they?
Should you take the captaincy from him, Simon? When they play Betis Thursday?
It depends what you think that does to the team. It depends if you think it's the right thing. You can react in the moment and look at it and say, I'll act in haste and I'll repent at leisure, or you can use it as a catalyst to be able to concentrate people's minds that this is simply not good enough. Because the players, albeit they'll say they're not aware of this sort of stuff, they'll be aware of this sort of observation.
Yeah.
And Fernandes is now, after that game, you've got Roy Keane turning around saying the circus is creeping back into town. You've got his whole observations about the nature of Fernandes' performance. That wasn't good enough, but he's got it in his locker to behave that way. On the other side of the coin, he is also a very talented player.
He is, but when you're in the trenches, can you really rely on him? So when you look at that team, you've got Fred and Casemiro in midfield, which looks like a decent midfield. Then you've got Anthony, not bothered to track back. Fernandes certainly not going to track back. Simple as that. So then you look, okay, did the manager is it too open? When they played against Arsenal, when Arsenal won 3-2 last minute, I was never in any concern because I knew Manchester United need the back door open. They need to manage games better, Jim, than they do right now. Okay, they won the Carling Cup. It's a long time, isn't it, in football? A week. This time last week, we were lauding Manchester United. So just a bit of stability has to return.
But
I think their manager will do it.
He didn't want people dining out on this, and that will be some sort of reaction to it. But I think again, Souness was right. I think Souness was right again in what he said. I do think United have been getting away with it in recent times. I don't think they're a dominating side. I don't think they're a formidable side in terms of when it comes on their toes, and I think they got found out on Sunday, but I bet you they'll bounce back.
To defend Manchester United's performance yesterday, I think
defense.
Roy Keane took the right route.
He's in defence.
Sit out the way.
Kept out of it, yeah.
Sit out
Let
of the
Gary
way.
do that.
That's not why he's there, though, is it? We're going to hear from Eric Ten Hag the other side of the break, but it certainly was a head scratcher, wasn't it? Liverpool's greatest victory against Manchester United ever. The previous was a 7-1 win in 1895. Manchester United's worst loss since 1931, and the loss was only Manchester United's third in 33 games. Having said that, but what United fans must think this morning, God only knows. We want to hear from you. 03717 223344, because it is a season that you could still finish strongly. You are in the Europa League, you could win it. Outsiders in the title race, sure, but rank outsiders. In the FA Cup, you could win that, and you've already won the Carabao Cup. I mean, where is your head regards your team this morning, regards Bruno Fernandes, regards it all? And Liverpool, what did that tell you yesterday about what your team is up to and where your side are?
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker. TalkSport.